Hello, fellow humans. I am Emil, and I am here to talk to you today about misgendering. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I don't know what that was, but it happened, and you're gonna deal with it, and sorry if I offended anyone with that really awful accent. So, I thought that, we could just get a little bit cozy today and just talk about something that, you know, I feel like most trans people would deal with on a regular basis. And for me, recently, it's been something that I've been struggling with a lot. And I don't know, I just kind of wanted to talk it out, so here we are. Alright, so I posted on Facebook, using conventional Facebook, to let people know that I was transgender around about maybe like 8 months ago now, I think. It's like in May. May? Yeah, May. That is beside the point. But yes, when I came out, one of the main reasons that drove me to come out to people as what I was feeling like, let more people know, was because I was struggling a lot with dealing with being labelled as she, her, exactly, that stuff. Yep, she, her, pronouns. I know the English. But I was struggling because I knew that I wasn't a female, and I didn't want to be a female, and I didn't want to be taken as a female. And so I was like, alright, I'm going to come out to people now and tell them that honestly I really need them to start using male pronouns for me, because it makes, like, I know it's right and it's going to make me feel so much better, and I won't be lying to anyone else, because I felt like I was lying to people, letting them label me as she, her. Yep, I always forget, so she, her, hers, that's right, she, her, hers. I do this, right. Anywho, back to the main point, Emil. I just felt like I was lying to people when I was letting them label me as she, her, hers, and I was presenting myself as kind of what I expected people to be wanting me to be. So I was presenting myself more as female. I was wearing a bra, and I didn't want to be. I wanted to be wearing a binder, and I was getting really anxious because when I did wear a binder, I felt like people were kind of giving me weird looks. People who knew me, because, suddenly I'm gone from having chest to not having chest. I was like, yeah, alright, cool. So now people can actually start using the pronouns that I prefer, and everything will be okay. It's so much better, and it'll be all cheesy, all swell. And let me tell you, kids, that is not how it is. It wasn't really that simple, unfortunately. The way that it worked in reality is it was a very slow, long process. And it's still occurring right now, and it's probably going to still occur for, I don't know, maybe years to come. I don't know. The thing with pronouns is that they're probably one of the most automatic parts of our vocabulary in the English language. People have this amazing aptitude to just see, a person and label it as either she or he, and instantly, without even really thinking about it, just use those pronouns. Honestly, I actually find it kind of incredible, because even I can't help but doing the same thing. Like, now I'm trying to just label people as they, them, their in my own head, so that I don't assume, like, instantly what someone's presentation and gender is. But, nonetheless, you still can't help but label someone as either she or he, because it's just the way our brains are hardwired to view people. Such an automatic part of our vocabulary that actually changing it, especially in my case where people were adjusted to using female pronouns, is really hard. It was a really long, hard process, and as I said, it's still occurring now. I realised after those first few weeks of being like, oh, people aren't slipping into this as easily as I thought, I realised, oh, right, this is going to be a process, and I realised just how automatic it is. Like, people do it all the time just without even realising that they were doing it. You have to just let people sort of use these pronouns for you, and the problem is, it's about finding that line of whether or not it's appropriate to correct them or not. The problem is being misgendered. I don't know about other trans people, but for me personally, I find that it is really, really hurtful. It's probably one of the hardest parts of being trans for me, aside from, body dysphoria and, okay, there's a lot of hard parts, but focusing on misgendering right now. for me personally, my awareness of pronouns began to escalate when I realized that I was trans, which was about 2.5 years ago now. And all of a sudden it went from not even noticing really that I used them and how much they were a part of our vocabulary to when someone is yelling at you and it's really obvious that someone is there yelling at you, and pronouns is like that for me, because it was like, even if they were just casually like there, for me it's just like bolded, like someone had gone and highlighted it and underlined it and like done set off little party poppers to make sure that you're aware that this is that pronoun. And of course that wasn't the case, but for me that's how it felt. And the problem is, it felt so wrong for me hearing that pronoun that doesn't feel like it belongs to me. And it was hurtful. It's really, really hurtful, honestly, because they don't mean to more often than not, but it's hurtful because it's sort of disrespectful to you. It shows you that you're not presenting as how you wish to present. And it's also, I find, especially if it's people who know that I am male and that I'm a trans male, and they use female pronouns, whether by accident or not, it's sort of fairly like they're not respecting how much I've changed as a person and the journey I've been through and how much happier I am presenting as male and how right it is for me personally. And it's sort of like they're disrespecting that by using the wrong pronouns. But then there's this problem where people don't mean to use pronouns half the time, that they do. It's just this automatic built-in thing, like breathing, where they're just like, that's a she, or that has been a she, and I'm so used to using she that now that person there is a she. And I'm like, no, actually I'm he. I know my body is telling you that I might possibly look a bit feminine, but I'm not. I'm a dude. And please just take me as a guy, please. And it's hard. Generally speaking, the people who misgender me the most are those people who don't know me at all. When I'm working at work and I work in customer service, it'll often be people that I'm serving. They'll often be to their young kids, now go give the money to the lady. And I'll just be sitting there like, not me, not a lady, I'm a boy, please stop. I wasn't even a lady before I started transition. I was like a mongrel feminine thing that had boobs and didn't really feel like female. Yeah, cool. You get this sinking feeling in your gut, when someone misgenders you, and it's an automatic reaction for me. I just feel disappointed. I suddenly feel really stressed, and I feel sort of disgusted at myself that I'm presenting as this thing that I don't feel like I am. And I can go from being really happy and feeling really masculine to suddenly feeling really gross physically, because one person has said lady or she or her or darling or whatever. And so it's hard enough, when you've got those random strangers that you don't know misgendering you. And in some ways, I know that that's going to fade away more and more and more as, time passes, especially as I get more and more into my physical transition. But I can't help but still have that automatic reaction of just feeling really uncomfortable and really gross. And it's such a small thing, and it just affects me so massively. Why do you do this to me? So strangers, bad enough, but it's worse when it's people who are your friends or family and who know, your situation and are using the wrong genders, the wrong pronouns for you. And it's hard because I don't know how to say this. I am struggling. Tea solves everybody's problems. Drink tea and you'll forever be free. I'm so proud of myself right now. When it comes to your family misgendering you and your friends and people that you know and they know that you prefer male pronouns, it can be even harder because, especially I've found, I've had to give them that grace period where I don't pull them up every time they misgender me, because I know that they're trying to get used to it too, and I know that they've got their own struggles to get through as well. And I'm really aware, especially with people like my mum and my family members who, are going through this mourning period where they've lost this, female, that this daughter, little princess, whatever, not that I was ever a little princess, but they've lost this little picture of what I was to them, and that's gone, and then mourning the loss of that and realizing that the reality of who I am is quite different from the reality of who they thought I was. So it's like I'm trying to give them the grace of that, you know, realization and not pushing it too much on them. But then the reality is it's such a negative thing for me whenever someone misgenders me, that it's like, when should I start like correcting you? Like, what point do I let you know that this is making me feel awful? Like, I don't think you should follow my man. Stop, stay where you are. That's the bomb. Why is there distractions? Hello, Mum.
You used to call me on my cell phone, late night when you need my love. Call me on my cell phone, late night when you need.
No, I don't have anything to share. Calling me mum in the middle of me video, mum. Nah, I love you, mummy. I'm gonna finish off on the note of just saying that I have now, like, I approach people now, and you know, if I pull them up, I'm just like, you know, do you mind if I correct you when you misgender me? And generally people will be like, yeah, sure, that's okay. And it's really the best way that I can get around it. Obviously, with strangers, there's not much you can do. You just have to like grin and bear and imagine stabbing them in the eyes. I'm not violent. You don't stab people in the eyes, but I'm just saying. For the last segment, I'm gonna bring out my word of the day. And today's word is misophonia. It's a word I really like. It's a brain disorder, apparently, characterized by getting angry at people when they breathe or eat or make like noises with their mouth. I really like this word because it helps me explain away my problem, because whenever people chew really loudly and I'm not eating as well at the same time, I get really angry and I have no control over it. Like, I always warn people, I'm just like, if I get angry at you while you're chewing, please forgive me, it's not my fault, it's just my brain being weird. And it's really great to hear that it's actually apparently a brain disorder. I am going to be uploading more, hopefully now, probably on like Wednesdays, so you should totally come back on Wednesdays and you might find me uploading stuff. So yeah, bye.